technical difficulties, you know? That works really nicely. All right, way better. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. So next week we need to be up there, and we need to be reading Torah, and I don't want to take this up and down and up and down, so I left it there. But when I tried to stand there for a second at the beginning of the service, well, I'll show you. Don't get mad at me, Tim, because I told you I'm not going to be up here. You don't have to follow me necessarily, but look. Do you remember the days we used to only have services from up here? That was a while ago. I decided I'd rather be down here with you, so I did some schlepping, and we're a little askew, we're a little off-centered. When I was young, on Sunday evenings in Manhattan, at St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Manhattan, in the CCAR building, in this really modern sanctuary, Reverend John Gensel, of blessed memory, used to have jazz vespers every Sunday at 6. And it was more ecumenical than not. And many Sundays, my family would be at the Lutheran jazz vespers, and obviously my dad was the one that he invited, but we would be asked to participate as well, and I would sing and help lead some of the music and things for jazz vespers. And one time, Reverend Gensel did this thing where he took the crosses, there were 3 of them, and he took the crosses, and instead of having them face you like this, which they were all facing like that, he had one of them kind of this way, one of them kind of this way, one of them kind of that way, and he did one of my favorite sermons. It was short and sweet. He said, you know, not everybody finds God the same way. And sometimes you see God in different ways. Sometimes you look, and you're looking for God the wrong way, so you've got to start looking in different ways. I loved that. So that's what we're doing today. We're looking for God in different ways today. And I'll stay down here. But, so the flowers are beautiful. There are a few things we're going to do tonight. One is Shabbat. What are the other things that are happening tonight or this week that we have to remember to do? Anybody remember? We have to count the Omer. What day are we in the Omer? It's really exciting. It's really exciting. What? We're 42, which is how many weeks? 6 weeks and 0 days. All right, that you have to remember. We are 6 weeks. How many weeks are we supposed to count altogether? 7! We're almost there. It feels like just yesterday. We were at the Seder here yesterday. So 6 weeks and 0 days, you have to remember that. But there's something else that's happening, and I can give you a hint. If I tell you that today is the 27th day of ER, does that give you a clue? We have a Rosh Chodesh coming up. Does anybody remember what month comes after ER? ICU, no. Sivan. Sivan comes next. And Sivan is going to start on Tuesday. So that's another thing you're going to have to remember, if I can remember to do those things. So 42nd day, which is 6 weeks and 0 days, and Tuesday is the beginning of Sivan. And there's something that starts tomorrow night. When Shabbat ends, there's a holiday that starts tomorrow night. It is the last of the most recent Jewish holidays. Kind of interesting that all of the modern Jewish holidays, the ones that are not biblical at all of the modern Jewish holidays come during the Omer, during those 7 weeks that we count between Passover and Shavuot. And this is the last of them. So the first one was, what are the modern holidays, do you know? Say it again. Yom HaShoah is the first one. Yom HaAtzmaut, and the day before, which is Israel Independence Day, and the day before Israel Independence Day is Yom HaZikaron, which is Memorial Day, and that's 3. And the last one that came out of the peanut gallery is Jerusalem Day, Yom Yerushalayim. It's the youngest of the modern holidays. So it's 52 years. He's right. Did you hear that? He's good. Give that guy a mic. 52 years since 1967. So in 1948, Yom HaAtzmaut, the 71st birthday of Israel, but it's the 52nd birthday of the reunification of Jerusalem, and we commemorate that tomorrow night. So I want you to think about Jerusalem. Have Jerusalem be in your heart, if it isn't always. So another thing that happens this week is that many of our kids or children are going to camp this week. Are you going first session or second session? First, so when do you leave? The following Monday? Okay, so it's not this week, it's coming up soon. And so one of the things that happen, I think about this a lot. I think about what makes somebody a traditional Jew. I always like to think that I'm a traditional Jew because I keep kosher, I wear a tallis, I cover my head. But when a woman wears a tallis and when a woman covers her head, that's not traditional. That's a non-traditional traditional. And so what makes you a traditional Jew? You know, when we send our children to the Reform Jewish camp, one of the things they do is they say Birkat HaMazon, the blessing after the meal, for every single meal. And it's paragraphs and paragraphs long of Hebrew. And they do it after every single meal. And the reason why I bring that up isn't just to impress you with what our children are getting when they go to camp, but that, and we're sending more than a dozen, I think we're sending about 15 students. One of our children this year, and I forgot about this, one of our children, a teenager, is going to Ramah, which is the conservative camp. One of our B'nai Zion kids is going to Ramah. I'm going to let you guess which one that is, and I promise you're wrong. So keep guessing. Let me know afterwards what your guess is, because I am really thrilled about this. Talk about how much Hebrew they're going to learn. But no electricity on Shabbat kind of camp. Amazing. All right. Anyway. Where is it? Ramah. This one's in, I think it's in Georgia, this one. There are a few, Ramah Darom. It's because of the sports, you know how those conservative Jews are. Anyway, just saying, life is like this week. So, but in Birkat HaMazon, in the blessing after the meal, one of the things we pray about is Jerusalem. We pray about Jerusalem as part of the traditional prayers in the morning and in the evening after every meal. And the line that it says about Jerusalem in Birkat HaMazon, in the blessing after the meal, says, Uvene Yerushalayim Hir HaKodesh, right? So, and we build Jerusalem, the holy city. But it says, Uvene Virachamav Yerushalayim. Amen. And you shall build, and you build with mercy Jerusalem. And the part that I love about that is that you can take the words in a Hebrew sentence and mishmash them in a whole bunch of different orders. You don't have to do it in the same kind of a sequence that we do in English. And for some reason, they decided to put the with mercy between the build and the Jerusalem. And build with mercy Jerusalem. And so some rabbis teach us that that means that Jerusalem is a city that's built about mercy, about taking care of each other and things. And I pray every day that that's exactly what it is. That's what it is in my heart. So we begin our service tonight. And before we get to our service, I guess you can figure out what we need to do. What are we doing? Breathe, breathe, Rabbi, breathe, breathe. All right, everybody take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Try to go in through your nose and out through your mouth. Try again. Okay, and loosen your shoulders. And I will remind you, you're supposed to do at least 3 of those. I'm going to remind you to keep breathing throughout the whole service. Don't just stop with 3. But I have to keep going with my service. So you keep breathing, and I'll keep going. And we left the candles up there so we're not blowing out the candles while we're breathing. During the summer months after Memorial Day, we all get the honor of blessing the candles and saying the Kiddush, all of us, just like we would potentially at home. So we're going to turn to page 82, and if we were at home, we would stand for this. I invite you to please rise, page 82. Would you read with me, please? These lights are only flickering flames, yet flames illumine our uncertain steps. Flames remind us of Sabbaths long past and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace. I'm going to sing this. You're welcome to sing it with me. If you need to do it in English, please do it in English. I'm going to sing it in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And you say a little prayer, and you hope for a good Shabbat, and you open your eyes, and you have Shabbat candles. We continue on pages 167 and 166. You are welcome to say, hey, can I do this some week? And I will be very happy to give you this honor, but this week I get to choose what we're doing here. On page 167 at the bottom of the page, we say this line in Hebrew. Let's sing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And we read together in the English on 166. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. We praise you, eternal God, son from Egyptian bondage, our day of days. On Shabbat especially, we hearken to your call to serve you as a holy people. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat l'chaim. I should have had more people up here. That was a lot of grape juice. You have to say Shabbat Shalom to somebody you came in with. You have to say Shabbat Shalom to somebody you didn't come in with. Make sure everybody gets a Shabbat Shalom. Everybody. And then we continue as we welcome the angels that accompany us on page 84, the angels that accompany us on Shabbat. And we're going to welcome them. We're going to ask them to bless us, and then we're going to wish them well as we hope that they linger, but when they're ready to leave, we get to wish them well when they leave.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Olchem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mi-Melech Malchei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malchei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The synagogue is the sanctuary of Israel. Born of our longing for the living God, it has been to Israel throughout our wanderings a visible token of the presence of God in our people's midst. Its beauty is the beauty of holiness. Steadfast, it has stood as the champion of justice, mercy, and peace.
Its truths are true for all people.
Its love is a love for all people. Its God is the God of all people. As it has been said, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. Let all the family of Israel, all who hunger for righteousness, all who seek the eternal, find God here, and here find life. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala ba'agala uvizman kariv v'miru amen. Yehesh shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpahar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemeh d'kudesha b'richu le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'miru amen. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai המבורך לעולם ועד.
Would you join me at the top of page 87? Oh God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of night, yet as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before you." Even so does your goodness pass before us, in the realm of nature and in the joys and sorrows of life. When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives, and we can begin to change the world. And then you live within our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam.
You may be seated. Alexander, do you want to lead me one more time? Your sister wants to come with you, or no? Come on up. I don't mean just one more time. I mean, it's a little bit sad that you kind of aged out of this thing. Just because what we do is, the reason why the students get to lead us in the Vahaftah is because you do not have to be over 13 years old to lead the Vahaftah. But you can. I do it all the time. I'm over 13 years old. Go ahead.
ואהבת את אדוני
אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Keep going, please. Lead us in English.
You shall love your eternal God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God.
Thank you. And by the way, you did a phenomenal job last week. Thanks for that. I, the Eternal One, have called you to righteousness and taken you by the hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
Witness to the covenant between God and God's children.
That's next week. We get to go into covenant again next week. Do you know how exciting this is? 1 week to go. It's so exciting. This is the covenant I make with Israel. I will place my Torah in your midst and write it upon your hearts. I will be your God, and you shall be my people.
We are Israel. Our Torah forbids the worship of race or nation, possessions or power.
You who worship gods that cannot save you, hear the words of the Eternal One. I am God, there is none else.
We are Israel. Our prophets proclaimed an exalted vision for the world.
Hate evil and love what is good. Let justice well up as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream.
We are Israel, schooled in the suffering of the oppressed.
You shall not oppress your neighbors nor rob them. You shall not stand idle while your neighbor bleeds.
We are Israel, taught to beat swords into plowshares, commanded to pursue peace.
Violence shall no longer be heard in your land, desolation and destruction within your borders. All your children will be taught of your God, and great shall be the peace of your children.
We are Israel, O God, when we are witnesses to your love and messengers of your truth.
You are my witnesses, says the Eternal One, and my servant whom I have chosen. Know me, therefore, and put your trust in me.
We are Israel, O God, when we proclaim you, God, our Redeemer, as did our ancestors on the shores of the Red Sea.
Can't do this without dancing anymore. Come on, let's get up and dance. Go. Ready? Go.
Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha meda b'kodesh, norati lo tosefele, norati lo tosefele. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
V'ne'emar, and it has been said, the Eternal One delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. O God, spread over us your shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, and bless us with rest. And let a time come when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish, a time of happiness, of contentment and rest. Baruch atah Adonai. We praise you, Adonai. Haporei sukkah shalom. You spread over us a sukkah of peace. Aleinu, upon us, va'al kol amo Yisrael, on all the people of Israel, va'al Yerushalayim, and on Jerusalem. And I'm going to add, it's not in here, va'al kol ha'olam, the whole world. We give thanks for, you can say amen, you get credit. Amen, okay. We give thanks for the night and its rest and the promise of peace for all the world. Vishameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise for the tefillah, which begins on page 93. Adonai sifata tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, u'mevii geula livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. God of all generations, of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, of Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, be praised. Your wondrous creative power fills heaven and earth.
God of life and death, be praised. Through us and help to the falling, healing to the sick, freedom to the captive. Confirm your faithfulness to those who sleep in the dust.
Awesome and holy God, be praised. With acts of love and truth we hallow your name. As it is said, be holy, for I, your eternal God, am holy.
God of times and seasons, be praised. Enable us through Sabbath rest to explore and learn and impart the meanings of your Torah. Make our hearts ready to serve you this day and all days.
Please be seated. Turn to the inside, not back cover, but the very last prayer in the book, the very last page. Please. I don't need that. Eternal God, we pray to you for the whole house of Israel, scattered over the earth, yet bound together with a common history and united by a common heritage of faith and hope. Please read with me. Bless this holy congregation and all who serve it, together with all other holy congregations in all lands, near and far. Uphold us, shield us, and bestow upon us abundant life and health and peace and happiness. Bring to fulfillment the blessing of Moses. May the Eternal One, your God, make you 1,000 times as many as you are and bless you. O God, send healing to your sick, your comfort to all who are in pain or anxiety, your tender love to the sorrowing hearts among us. Be their refuge through the time of trial as they pass from weakness to strength, from suffering to consolation, from lonely fear to the courage of faith. Amen. We pray for all who hold positions of leadership and responsibility in our national life. Let your blessing rest upon them and make them responsive to your will, so that our nation may be to the world an example of justice and compassion. Deepen our love for our country and our desire to serve it. Strengthen our power of self-sacrifice for our nation's welfare. Teach us to uphold its good name by our own right conduct. Make us see that the well-being of our nation is in the hands of all its citizens. Imbue us with zeal for the cause of liberty in our own land and in all lands, and help us always to keep our homes safe from affliction, strife, and war. Amen. We pray for the land of Israel and its people. May its borders know peace, its inhabitants tranquility, and may the bonds of faith and fate which unite the Jews of all lands be a source of strength to Israel and to us all. God of all lands and ages, answer our constant prayer with a Zion once more aglow with the light for us and for all the world. And let us say, Amen. And I know you thought we were going to get away without getting to hear the Shalom Rav, but can we hear the Shalom Rav, please? We turn back to page 96. So we have a rule here that, for the most part, I try not to do Hebrew if it doesn't have transliteration. And this is one of my exceptions. Page 96.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Hadom lekol hashalom. אתה הוא מלך הדור לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Take a moment now to pray silently the prayers that are in our own hearts. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, The next thing we do is turn to page 162. We're finishing up the month of ER. What month are we starting? Next one, Sivan. Nice job. Sivan. And Sivan starts what day? Tuesday. Oh, you're good. This side is good. I didn't hear anybody on that side giving me answers. I don't know. That's okay. I told you it is my job. If I put people to sleep during services, I've done my job because I made you go to sleep, to rest on Shabbat. That's my job. So, Yehi ratzon mefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova u'livracha. Our God, God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us renewed good and blessing. May we have a long life, peace, prosperity, and health, a life full of blessing, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Misha'asa nisim lavotenu v'limotenu, wondrous God, in ancient days you led our people from bondage to freedom. Redeem us now out of our exile from one another, making all Israel one united people. Rosh Chodesh Sivan yeh b'yom shlishi. It's your turn. You have to say, the new month of Sivan will begin on Tuesday. And we read together, God of holiness, let the new month bring for us, for the whole house of Israel, life and peace, happiness and joy, deliverance and comfort. And let us say, Amen. We also have to count the Omer. So I have my cheat sheet here, but you already know what it is. So let's do, you get to choose. We get to do Ashkenazic 1, Ashkenazic 2, Sephardic 1, or Italian. What are you feeling today? Sephardic, Italian, Ashkenazic, Sfardita. Well, let's be Sfarditim. All right, so the tradition is you're supposed to wait till after dark, but since we've already lit the candles, we have already officially made it after dark, even though we get to drive home in the light. It's a miracle. It's a miracle of Shabbos. So we say the blessing, which is a fulfillment of commandment kind of blessing. So the first 6 words are the same words as every blessing, every bracha, where we say Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. The next 4 words are the one which means praised are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe. The next 4 words are the words that tell us God made us holy by giving us commandments. Next week, God made us holy by giving us commandments and commanded us. We say, Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, and in this case it's Al Sfirat HaOmer, about the counting of the Omer. Remember, God commanded us to do it in 2 different ways. We have to count the days, so that we say Hayom, we said Sephardic, Hayom Arba'im v'tesha Yom LaOmer Shehem, Oh no, Shtayim? Oh my goodness. I was already at next week. Thank you for catching me. I was just checking to see if anybody's really awake still. I was asleep already. Hayom, Arba'im Ushnayim Yom LaOmer, Shehem Shisha Shavuot Ve'efes Yamim. Today, you could do this better than me now. Today is 42 days, which makes 6 weeks and 0 days. And so the way it's going to work this time, the Sephardic version says today is 42 days for the Omer. That's where the Omer part comes in, that make 6 weeks and 0 days. They put the Omer everywhere else. Remember, the tradition is that if you forget to say the blessing at night, you can count in the daytime without a blessing. If you skip 2 days, you blew it. You didn't keep the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to count 49 days, and you blew it. But I say, are you trying? If you're trying and you want to say that blessing, please say the blessing, because it feels really good. And I like to think that blessings aren't just for our sake. Blessings are also for God's sake. You know, if you say you made us holy by giving us commandments, God says, yes, I did. I did do that, didn't I? So I think it makes God feel good too. So unlike other rabbis who will forbid you from saying that blessing, I say, go for it. Or not, it's your choice. All right. We then turn to the inside back cover of our prayer books as our hearts and our prayers turn to those who are ill or recuperating. I turn off my microphone for a moment as I read off the names of the people for whom we're praying. If you have other names you'd like us to include in our prayers, I invite you to call them out. Yogi. For all these names, for the names we choose to say in our hearts and not say out loud, we read together. Oh God, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. And grant the eyes of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing and health. Mi shebeirach Avotenu Mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. You know, when we ask God for healing, we call a person, usually in traditional Judaism, by the child of the mother. For most things, we call the person by the child of the father. But we think that when we invoke the mother, it kind of gets to God's merciful side. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, may the one who blessed and protected our fathers and our mothers guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom and protecting us in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve. Give them strength to succeed and courage to persevere. May they return home safely. And let us say, Amen. So I have to tell you a secret that you may already know. I see what I want to see. Do you ever find that you're like that? That you see what you want to see? I suspect that we probably all are like that. In high school, I had a saying that I turned into. I tried to do my favorite, most loveliest calligraphy and turned it into this button that said, Bishvili nivra haolam, for my sake was the world created. There's a Talmudic thing that says that on your lips you're always supposed to say, was my sake was the world created. But in your pocket, you're supposed to have a little piece of paper that says, from dust did I come and to dust do I return. And it's supposed to be a kind of a combination of humility. But for me, I imagine it as meaning that wherever I go, that's where the world goes for me. If I go that way when I leave the room, the world follows me. It doesn't follow anybody else. So from my perspective, the world was created for me, which gives me extra responsibility for trying to take care of it. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about how I see things through my own eyes. And I sometimes don't realize that I've done it until way after the fact. This week, I had a situation that something recurred 3 times. And I am convinced that I know what it meant, but I want you to tell me what you think. So how many times does this happen to you that people come up to you and they tell you did you know I did my DNA testing, and it turns out that I am, and you fill in the blank about what the percentage is of Jewish. Friends who are not Jewish by birth, and they tell you that they're this much Jewish. Does that happen to you? Has that happened to you? So how do you feel when they say that to you? Do you feel like they're telling you because you're Jewish, and they're like, I'm so proud that I'm 5% or 95%? Do you think that they're telling you because they're proud of that? Do you think they're telling you because they think you'll understand? They're going to give you insights? Well, I presume, because I see what I want to see, I presume that they're proud of that part. That for that moment, when they're telling me, they're kind of proud, and they're kind of coming to me and bragging that they're Jewish too. That's what I think, because I see what I want to see. So it happened a few times this week. One time was that this man tells me that he did a test, but he also found out through they didn't know exactly where it was until his father was on his deathbed. And the father told them that the grandfather, who was a priest, said, I have to tell you something. I'm really Jewish. And so, especially when it's a priest, and there's another priest in town here who's very proud of the fact that his grandparents were rabbis. You may have spoken to him. I'll let you know who it is afterwards. He's very proud of this fact. But especially when it's someone like a priest who says that they are Jewish. And in the case of certainly the man on the deathbed, he believed that if he divulged this while he was still alive, their lives were at risk because it was a dangerous time. And so that's why he didn't tell anyone, because he had been told when he was younger not to tell. And now he could. So now this man, who is not a priest, not practicing Judaism, but he comes to me and he lets me know that, hey, guess what? I found out, and this is my story. And I think it's an awesome story, and I love that. And I love that he seems to be proud when he's telling me that he has this part of his history that's Jewish. And then I had this other version of the story, which is what made me wonder if I'm seeing it just the way I want to see it, or if this is what she intended. So this woman lives out in far, far away, middle of nowhere, Texas. And she's being raised. Guess how she's being raised? She's in her 80s now. Guess how she's being raised? What's her faith? Baptist. Very Baptist, right? She finds out that she calls me and she said she had some questions for me. And she said, I know nothing about being Jewish, nothing about Jews. And I heard that you're a rabbi, and I had some questions for you. And we talked for an hour about all kinds of things. And then at the end, she says, and by the way, I love doing genealogy things. And it turns out that there's a picture that I have in my collection. It's two separate things. First, she says, it turns out that my family is part Italian and part Jewish. So she hears my De Benedetti name, and she was bragging on both of those quarters. So she says, I found out that that's what it is. I don't know anything about that part of the family, though. I don't know anything about the people who are connected to me by my Italian roots or my Jewish roots. And then later on, she says, she tells me about this picture that's one of the oldest pictures that she owns of family members. And she said it's a picture of her great-great-aunt or her great-aunt or something. And it has, the thing that she thinks is kind of awesome is that her wedding ring is on her first finger on her right hand. I said, she's your Italian Jewish relative. She says, what are you talking about? And I said, because the Jews in Italy wear their wedding fingers on this finger when they get married. And this is many Jews, even the Ashkenazic Jews. Often when you get married, you put the ring on this finger, and then later on you switch it. But you put it on this finger because this finger is supposed to go directly to the heart. And the Jews in Italy keep it on that finger, partially because we're told to be holy, because God is holy, and holy means different, and because everybody else wears their rings on other fingers. They wear their wedding rings on this finger. They keep it on there. And I know many, many Jews in Italy now, and I know that they often, not everybody, but they wear their rings on this finger. And I said, I bet that's your Jewish heritage. And I tell her this part of that and how I know it. And so I see what I want to see, and I think she thinks that's cool. I think she thinks that's so cool to know that that's a connection, and that's where the Jewish tradition came from. And now she knows why this unusual thing happened where there's a woman who she's related to who's wearing her wedding ring on that finger. It wasn't until after we hung up and I thought about the conversation that I wonder if she was as proud of that fact that we put all those pieces together as I was, if she thought it was as cool as I did that we put those pieces together, and if she is as proud of her Jewish heritage, her Italian Jewish heritage, as I am. It's fine with me that she's a Southern Baptist who knows nothing about Judaism right now, other than the fact that I kept reminding her that Jesus was Jewish, and yeah, that was a Jewish thing he did, and that was a Jewish thing he did. And the longer we talked, I thought, because I see things through my own eyes, that she was thinking that this was cooler and cooler, the stuff that she now knows about being Jewish. But I'm curious what you think about that. I would love to talk to you one day about your experiences, about when people tell you, oh yeah, I found out that I'm this much Jewish. And it's happening more and more these days. So I have another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that is that, and I'll invite Mr. President up while he's coming up. John, come on up. While you're coming up, I was going to ask you another question. We have a tradition here sometimes of doing the Friday film festivals, where we will show a movie Friday night after the services. We'll have popcorn and pizza and pop, alliterated stuff. And I don't know what movies to show this year, but I would love to do that again, unless some of you don't want to be driving at night but would want to do this, and maybe we could do a Shabbat matinee or something after services on Saturday. I don't mind that either, because it's just kind of nice for us to sit and watch movies together. So think about what movies you might want to watch, and I'm very happy to, I'll watch the same good ones we watched in the past. I could watch Frisco Kid every year without minding at all. I would watch that every week. But, sorry. So, but let me know what you'd like to watch, and we'll do those again. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. A reminder that summer office hours are starting, and they will be from 9 to noon, Monday through Friday, for the entire summer, except for Jewish or federal holidays when the office will be closed. Next Friday, 6 p.m., will be confirmation, Shavuot, Shabbat, and Yizkor. So please join us. How many in the confirmation?
Seven.
There's
Seven
seven
in
in
the
the confirmation class. Please join us. Thank you. Shavuot and Yizkor morning service will be on Sunday, June 9th, 11 a.m. Cantor Neil Schwartz, there will be a farewell luncheon on Saturday, June the 8th. He will be leaving Shreveport, moving to a congregation in Dothan, Alabama. Later in the month of June, we will welcome the new rabbi for Agudath Hakim. Simcha Shabbat, for birthdays and anniversaries in June, this coming month will be the second Friday of June because of confirmation, so it will be Friday, June 14th. Jewish Federation is having bingo night
Here.
on Thursday, June 27th, here at B'nai Zion. That's a new one.
I know.
5:30 to 7:30. There will be fun for the whole family. Please come. There will also be 2 Jewish camps, 2 Federation-sponsored day camps. One will be the Shalom Arts Camp, July 15th to 19th at Agudath Hakim, and Camp Kai will be July 22nd through August 2nd at B'nai Zion. The bulletin for June is available online and in the office. There are more details, and there are more programs and information in the bulletin. Donations tonight were made to B'nai Zion for pulpit flowers in honor of the birthday of Mitzi Prince by Martin Palmer, Jerry, and John Black. Thank you.
And we're glad you're here. Thank you. Yes, the details are in the bulletin. Please read that email that we sent out today. There were lots of technical difficulties. We sent it hours before it actually went out, and they were very impressed with me about how patient and not exploded I was when I found out that it wasn't going out when I thought it did. But there's really interesting information in there that you won't find other places for now. If you want to help me open the ark, whatever age you are, but especially if you are under the age of 20, come on and help me open the ark. Page 148. Everyone else is turning to 148. You got to go quicker than that. Come on. Anybody wants to help me? I could do it all by myself if I have to, but I'd really rather have people who can come up and down the steps. Come on. That's what I like to see. She comes with her own Torah. Yes. Page 148. When the ark is open, please rise. Nice to see you ladies again. Thank you. Ready? Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. And on the other page, the facing page, we'll say v'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Ushimu echad. And when the ark is closed, you may be seated. I love that you brought your own Torah with you. I love that. Thank you. Nice and careful. Appreciate that. We continue on page 151. And in addition to acknowledging what we did for Memorial Day, how many people's lives are lost in trying to protect Jerusalem, we also acknowledge that in our country we've lost 16 people in our military this far this year. We've lost 46 police officers this year, and 7 canine officers, and 18 firefighters. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. I invite you to turn to page 153. In nature's ebb and flow, your eternal law abides. As you are our support in the struggles of life, so also are you our hope in death. In your care, O God, are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Your power gives us strength. Your love comforts us. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts. Fill us with trust in you and turn us again to the tasks of life. And may the memory of our loved ones inspire us to continue their work for the coming of your sovereign rule. However brief may be our time on earth, O God, you endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. We now recall the loved ones whom death has taken from us. We remember the congregants' parents who died within the past year. We remember Clifford Bear, Joe Batt Sr., and Peter Haas. And as we remember those who died at this season in years past, we take them into our hearts with our own. Those for whom we're observing yahrzeits this week include Tamara Atkins, Mortimer A. Cohen, Shirley Murov Altus, Alvin Gardspain, I.H. Ginsberg, Casper Grunis, Mortimer Hertzberg, Jacob Katzenstein, Loris Levy, Philip Ben Lieber, Max Morris, Bill Otto, Milton Rosenzweig, Mamie Selber, Archie Simon, Mildred Lottie Werner, and Jacques Wiener Sr. In this moment of memory, our griefs and sympathies are mingled. Loving God, we rise as together we praise your name. The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 154. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yeheh shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha v'richu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. You may be seated unless you are under the age of, pick an age. How many? Under the age of how many? What'd you say? Works for me. Hold that. So the part that I didn't say is I feel like Jerusalem has a lot to do with what those people find when they find that they have a part of their DNA was Jewish. For me, having access to Jerusalem, to the whole of Jerusalem, it was like coming back home, because it was coming back home. Look what's there. It's kind of the exact opposite of last week's challah, isn't it? Last week it was this big and it was round and a big giant heart-shaped thing almost. And now it's this big. Ready? Go. Motzi lechem in haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices
rising
sung together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon. You take that, I take the plate. Oh, good luck with that. Make sure that everybody gets. That's not equal. Please rise for the closing benediction. We're getting close, but I'm glad we're here. What? There's more outside waiting for the grown-ups. They don't have to share, but it's kind of them to share. It is a blessing to be together. Thank you for coming this week. Some of you have to, and some of you kind of have to, and I'm just glad that you did. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yirkuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace. Shabbat shalom. Go see what you want to see. And happy Yerushalayim Day.